you to all members of the public, councillors and officers who are joining us for today's meeting. Councillors and officers are reminded of their commitment to the civility and respect pledge and to be mindful of this during tonight's meeting. Please be aware that the council is video recording this meeting and this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. I would just like to highlight some key points of the meeting format. Please can I ask everyone to have their phones turned off or set to silent. The fire exits are via the doors out of the chambers and down the external fire escape stairs or via the main entrance that you enter the building through. In the event of a fire, the lift should not be used. The assembly point is to the outside outside Royal Mail Parcel Office on West Street. Please remain seated unless you are invited to speak or need to take a comfort break. The toilet facilities are out in the corridor you entered through. Members of the public are invited to participate in the meeting with the key points as follows. Public participation is limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person and must be relating to an item of business on the agenda. As chair, I will interject if needed to enforce this. When the public participation agenda item is introduced, please raise your hand to show you wish to speak and I will invite you to speak. If you are comfortable standing, please do so to ensure you can be heard across the room. You do not need to state your name when you start speaking if you do not wish to, but we ask that you clearly state which agenda item you are speaking about. I would ask that participants looking to leave the meeting wait until the end of an agenda item to limit distractions for other participants. Members of the public looking to leave the building will need to be escorted out by a council officer. If a meeting goes into confidential session, a short 2-minute break will be held to allow members of the public to leave. To allow all present, please remember to show respect to others in the meeting and avoid interrupting where possible to enable others to follow the meeting. If any councillor feels concerned about any aspect of the meeting or discussion, please clearly state point of order. I would then gesture for you to elaborate. If anyone present is felt to be behaving unacceptably, they can be ejected from the meeting by resolution. Thank you for listening. On behalf of the council, I'd like to thank everyone for attending this town council meeting. Thank you. Do we have any apologies for absence?
Thank you, Chair. So we've got apologies from Councillor Freddie Horrow for a work commitment and Councillor Shah Ali for a family commitment.
Thank you. Number 2, disclosure of interests. To deal with any disclosure by members of any disclosable pecuniary interests and interests other than pecuniary interests as defined under the Seaford Town Council Code of Conduct and the Localism Act 2011 in relation to matters on the agenda. Councillor Rutland?
I don't know if it's a pecuniary interest or not. However, Miranda did pay me to be Santa Claus at the market last Christmas. Is that a pecuniary interest?
It was a different market.
Different market, true, but still.
If it's a different market, then no, it's not a pecuniary interest.
In which case, nothing to declare.
Thank you very much. Right, number 3, public participation. Still with any questions or brief representations from members of the public physically in the meeting room in accordance with relevant legislation and Seaford Town Council policy. So who would like to speak on any items on the agenda? Thank you. Right, I'm going to do the front rows first and I'll leave back. So if you don't have to say your name if you don't choose to. Lady in the blue and white dress, if you'd like to.
Hi, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, Chair. My name is Tracy Lee. I was formerly Willis and I am a past mayor of Seaford. I would like to comment on the item regarding the town market in Seaford. It's hard to know where to start really. Miranda has done such a brilliant job of managing the market in the street, and I believe that it brings a lot of local and overseas visitors to the town who actually do come and attend the market. I find it very difficult to believe that, for one, the market has an impact on the businesses. We do sell very, very different things that are not in any of the local shops, and I can't actually believe that the local shops are not working with Miranda to come to some sort of a way of actually working together, which is what Seaford Town used to do. The market's been running for 4 years, and it's only now just coming to light that somebody has actually complained, made a complaint, and thereon it is lent to other shop owners actually putting in a complaint or an action as well. Out of all the shops in Seaford and what the market brings for 4 hours on a Saturday, twice a month, I honestly have to revert it back to the shop owners that if they feel that the market is having that much of an impact, then surely they're going to need to look at themselves and the way they're running their businesses. Because I just don't believe that a market that is on for 4 hours, as I said, every other Saturday, is having that much of an impact. And surely those shop owners have to look at themselves and their own way of working their businesses as to why it is affecting, because I don't think they are actually blaming the market for all these lack of funds coming into their businesses. Now, as I said, this market, and many of you will know, has been running for 4 years with the acceptance of Seaford Town Council. If they're having problems with money coming into their businesses, they should look there first. They should not be looking at the market to become someone they can blame for the lack of people and footfall walking through their businesses. I've read many comments on social media where Miranda was actually pretty much accused of other shops closing in the town. That does not fall to the market. That falls to business rates, or, you know, Clinton's Cars is closing because a car factory opened across the road. With money being so tight as it is now, people are going to go to where they feel they can get a best deal. That has nothing to do with Seaford Market. I feel the blame is very much easily put in the way of the traders, who are all local people. I will say, some maybe come from Newhaven, some come from Peacehaven. But surely our town should be working together in making these things happen for this town. Miranda does an awful lot for this town and has run very successful markets. And I am absolutely dismayed to see and hear, one, how she is being treated, and there is just no room for open conversation with any of the other businesses. I would put it then upon this council to do the right thing and make the right decision in supporting Miranda and the street market for 4 hours, once a fortnight, within this town.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Lady in the pink.
Thank you. Right, just stand behind the So, my name is Miranda Beans-Lowles. I am the manager organiser of Seaford Town Market. I would like to express first of all my hurt in the report being called, that the report we put towards all of this being called bias towards the market. People spent hours with their feet on the ground asking people to fill out the questionnaire. We gave honest opinions by directly communicating with people, giving huge amounts of times for this. I'd like to explain a theory for the reduction in takings for the church lane tea rooms, as mentioned in the first report. Takings could not have been affected by the sweet treat stall as accused due to absences and holidays. A mutual friend of myself informed me of the witch hunt which was starting, and that Steve from Church Lane Tea Room had expressed Miranda needs to be taught a lesson of respect. This was passed on to the stall holders. 99% of the stalls thereafter has refused to visit the cafe for their drinks or lunches. They also informed their friends and family of this behaviour, and they also now refuse to attend the tea room. Seaford Town Market is more than just a collection of stalls. It's a symbol of resilience, community and local pride. At a time when many are struggling with the ongoing economic crisis, the market provides a much needed lifeline, encouraging footfall for the town market traders and that are trying to keep their businesses afloat, for families looking for affordable options, and for the residents seeking meaningful human connection. Building a shop every day, no matter what the weather, is hard work, but market traders have no choice. They would love to have bricks and mortar premises. The market is the first platform for many small businesses to offer choice to customers within our community, for them not to feel monopolised or have their choices reduced. We are physically here twice a month from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. for 11 months of the year. That's just 22 days annually. In contrast, local shops are able to be open for 363 days a year. The idea the market disrupts and threatens surrounding trade is simply unfounded. We complement each other, not directly compete. There seems to be a misunderstanding between competition, overlapping and giving choice. To compete is to sell exactly what is being sold in the shop and is the only product being sold at that platform, like Tesco's and Morrison's, etc., who seem to thrive on competition. To overlap is to sell a like product and for the shop to sell more than just one product. E.g., the cafe sells lunches, afternoon teas, slices of cake, specifically made by them, and an eating experience. The cafe has a very good reputation for these. Sweet Treat stall sells cupcakes and cookie dough wedges. These products can only be found on this stall. These products are made solely by the stall holder. She also has a good reputation and has a great amount of followers who attend Seaford Market on the day. These items are takeaway only. This stall has different customer base to the cafe and each is supported by different customers. Primary and secondary sales. Clothing for Sadisi is primary product. Jewellery is their secondary product that complements their primary product. Thistle Pip hand makes all of her jewellery. Each piece is unique and only available from Thistle Pip. This is her primary product, but the primary and secondary products are being accused of being competitive. We are actively offered free stalls to nearby shops, inviting them to be part of the market from the beginning. Sadly, some refuse and have since chosen to criticise or target us personally, including verbal attacks against stallholders, some of whom have felt pressured to step away despite their deep love for the town and its people. Yet even in the face of this, we continue to show up, putting up our bright yellow signs at the start of every market week, braving the weather
We're at
conditions.
4 minutes now.
Pardon?
At 4 minutes now.
Oh.
We'll be able to start wrapping up.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm happy to give all of you a copy of this because obviously it is a bit more than 4 minutes. The short and curlies of it is, Seaford Market is not in competition with the town, it is part of it. It enriches the local economy, provides space for small business success and offers support to the community, adds warmth and vibrancy and connection. We ask for continued support, respect and recognition for the value it brings to Seaford.
Okay, thank you very much. Lady in the blue and white top.
Okay. Thank you very much, President. I think there are two issues here. I have a great deal of respect for Miranda, and I know the amount of work that she does and how she supports the community and how much she loves Seaford. I don't want to distract from any of that, but there are, I think, two issues here, and I'd just like to put across those if I could. Some of it I blame slightly on myself. I'm Vice Chair of the Chamber of Commerce. I was Chair for 3 years. I didn't realise how much this had got out of hand, and I should have stepped in to try and help out earlier. I didn't do that, so I feel that somehow I failed along the line. Anyway, I have discussed this with Neil Richardson, who's taken over the presidency of the Chamber, and we both feel that if there's any chance of us mediating and the Chamber taking up that role as a mediator to try and make things a little better, we're prepared to do that. The second issue is that I think the market is in the wrong place. I'd like to see the market at the top end of the high street. This is just an idea. It would impinge less because there are no actual shops. And there's a barber's, there's the room shop, which will probably be delighted to have more customers up there. It puts them into an area which is closer to the Broad Street, to the centre of the town, where they can send people, go and try our cafes, go and look at our shops, and vice versa. We want the shopkeepers to send the people to the market. Surely it's not that difficult. Too many restrictions on the market mean that it's not going to happen. It'll leave Seaford and it will go to Newhaven. We don't want that to happen. The other thing that I think we need to just have a bit of a reality check on, and Sharon knows all about this, Christmas magic. Right, 3 years ago the council said we can't have Christmas magic because we've got no money.
Sorry, we need to stick with what's on the agenda.
Yeah, it is what's on the agenda. It's just what I'm bringing up now. The council pay for the lantern parade, the chamber, the Rotary and the market pay for everything else that happens on Christmas Magic Day. Without the market, where is the lion's share of the money going to come from? And all the work that gets done. So it does relate to the market, and I feel that it needs to be thought of in, as I said, a slightly different way to what we're just thinking of now. And please keep these thoughts in mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There's a chap on the second row.
My name is Joshua Starr, part owner of Totally Portum, which is the pet stall that we do Seaford Market here. I've got two parts to mine. First part is on behalf of someone that can't be here tonight. He says he is a local business owner that sells bread, sweet and savoury treats at Seaford Market. He used to sell scones. They were very popular until a certain cafe owner complained and said that he wasn't allowed to sell them. Despite this being slightly ridiculous, he thought compromise would be the best solution, and as a result has not made as much money as he could have on the market days, which are only twice a month. But I suppose it only matters what one man makes every single day. What makes it worse is that most of the people complaining that they were stealing their business were offered spots at the market and declined. Then later, when they realised they'd made a mistake, they had an issue with the success of others. Another consequence is that there have been a large number of disgruntled customers who, when told the truth about why I'm no longer allowed to bring scones, scoffed and said how silly it is that they won't use that cafe anymore. The whole debacle was in the local newspaper, and again, many people were talking about it and voiced their disapproval. It seems clear to me that if the owner of said cafe was more friendly, the stall holders would buy a lot more tea and coffee and would direct their customers to do so too. If this scenario wasn't mindless enough, the same owner of the cafe has taken to yelling and intimidating stall holders during the market. We would never dream of doing something so rude and demeaning. Imagine having the audacity to yell at a nice lady doing her job as if you owned the street. Imagine, despite having your way once...
Sorry, we can't get too personal.
Right. This is just what...
No, I know, but it's just, I've already been told that I probably shouldn't have let some of the stuff that was more personal go, so I need to just stick to the facts of the
that's
market.
fine. So there are so many people who love this market, and the business owners like myself rely on it as a solid source of income. It would be a shame for a couple of resentful people to shut it down. In closing, he'd like to thank the council for listening to his perspective and considering the consequences of taking away valued markets from the locals, stall holders, market managers and tourists alike. So to second from what my colleague has said, as a stall holder myself...
You've got 1.5 minutes.
No problem. Okay. I would also like to second what my colleague has said, stressing that as the owner of a pet stall, we also rely on this market as one of our main sources of income. The goal for us would be to eventually open a pet shop in Seaford. However, at this current time, we can't financially do that. And if the market was to either cease to exist or get a non-competitive clause, which would mean the death of the market anyway, we would end up, then we would physically be unable to afford our dream of owning the pet shop. The majority of our customers either only go out on market days and then continue shopping in the rest of town, or do not want to travel all the way to Newhaven or beyond for their pet needs. This market is a lifeline not only for us and other stakeholders, but also for hundreds of Seafordians and from the ones that I have spoken to, the local businesses who all receive increased trade from customers bought in from the market being there.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Chap at the back?
Yes.
Do you want to stand?
I'll stand up a little bit because this man is a bit tall.
Sorry.
My name is Andrew Owens. I've already sent an email asking this question, but I wasn't sure how long everybody was going to talk and how long you were going to allow people to make any sort of questions or submissions. So I'll ask it again anyway. So I'd like to ask the question with some presumption answers, okay? So bear with me. With regards to the traders losing business against a normal day, so especially a Saturday, what proof has the council asked the traders to show they're losing business in those specific days, as opposed to them actually saying they're losing business? So here comes the presumption answer. The only way I can see with this for them to show their financial takings for those Saturdays, taking over a period of several weeks, taking into account the season, the weather, bank holidays and any abnormalities that they have. So for me, I can only see that the way they'd be able to prove is through financial abnormalities. Their financial takings. Now I want to make it clear that, for the record, I am not accusing the traders of anything untoward. It's just how the council has asked for proof, or indeed how the traders have given proof. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Chap at the back?
Before the stopwatch goes on, I have asked that I can state what capacity I'm speaking in. Yes, I am the town crier for the council and the sergeant at mace for the council. I am not speaking on council's behalf. Nothing I'm saying is council policy. I will be saying there are one or two things which I observed whilst I was on my duties as a town crier, but that is purely giving some background to what I've observed, and I'm certainly speaking as a private individual, if that is okay.
4 minutes starts now.
Right, Seaford has had a market since the Middle Ages, when we had a charter market where East Street joins Crouch Lane. Coming slightly further forward than that, in the last century, end of the last century, the Rotary Club organised various French markets in the town, an occasional Italian one, and they were reasonably popular, just that they were in the wrong place. They were higher up Church Street and you couldn't turn into West Street. But apart from that, there were no great grumbles in the town about the fact that Rotary were doing this. The market we have now opens at most 22 days a year, and compare that to shops which are up there on 6-day opening. They open for 259 days a year. So the market only takes up 8% of the average shop's opening time, or even less if you include the market sometimes has to shut for bad weather. That's hardly significant compared to businesses with a full-time customer offering to their regular patrons. The footfall to the town centre had fallen even before COVID, despite the Seaford Community Partnerships initiative of pavement plaques pointing from the seafront to the town centre to lure people into the town for its retail and catering offerings. But since COVID, the footfall through the town from the railway station to Splash Point, largely via Church Street, has been boosted by hundreds of walkers and students from all over the world, and especially on a Saturday, to reach the cliffs and the Seven Sisters. Having travelled on a dozen Saturday trains, working as town crier, where I was warning people of dangerous cliff edges, I have seen this increase to over 100 walkers on a single Saturday morning train. These visitors delight in the market and may stop to buy fruit or a drink, but are not shopping for bread, meat, vegetables, gift cards or bicycles, so are not detrimental to existing businesses in the shopping streets. Also, as town crier, I stand in Broad Street and surrounding roads to advertise Seaford events, usually on Saturdays between 10:30 until 11:30, when the footfall to the town centre decreases notably. But on market days, I notice this retail interest stretches well after that time, thanks to the market. I haven't conducted any market research, but I acknowledge the wealth of statistics in this meeting's agenda. I also believe that the presence of a regular market, as in so many towns now, such as Eastbourne and Horsham, to name just two, brings a vibrancy, more variety, an outlet for handcrafted goods, considerable involvement in Christmas magic, as well as a fun outdoor shopping experience to a town combating a number of empty shops, no traditional banks, and a blighted high street. Lastly, I've only ever personally come across one resident who has spoken against the market, which was when I was first town crying about it starting up. And that was a shopkeeper, whose name I don't know, who used some very strong language to me in the street. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you. That concludes the public participation section. So we are going on to agenda item number 4, which is to update the committee on... Oh, sorry, did you want to comment?
I mean, I think we've discussed much of the comments in the paper item number 6.
Okay.
Just to clarify, there's no suggestion that the market is going to close in the paper. That's not a suggestion that's on the table. The only discussion really is in terms of whether or not a non-compete clause should be reinserted into the terms of the market. But I think it's probably best for that discussion to take place within item 6.
Okay. Right, on to agenda item number 4. And the purpose of the report is to update the committee on progress and actions relating to the Town Council's assets and facilities.
So we've produced the report on all the work that the officers have been undertaking for the assets and facilities. Within there we have also updated the project and assets log for you to see at what stage the various projects are at. Has anybody any questions?
Do we have any questions from the committee? Councillor Markborough?
Yes, I just want to thank you and your team for some very clear documentation here. It's really helpful, this matrix in Appendix A, to see the active, very, very long list, I have to say, of active projects, ongoing projects, and then those that are waiting for further assignment, with great acknowledgement that we haven't always had a full team over the last 12 months, but you've still been working flat out to try and get these things done. And I'm very aware that on some of the items that have been explained and updated here in the list, you know, there have been some very positive comments about those. So I'm, you know, I think I personally just want to say thank you. That I think you've all been working incredibly hard, sometimes in very challenging circumstances. So thank you very much.
Any further
I
questions?
second that. Well done.
Councillor Mead?
Can I just ask a question about the compostable toilets at Southfield Barn? Is there any progress on that?
Yes, so through the chair, we are working with various companies for quotations, which has been a little bit interesting because those companies haven't put those bespoke units together. So we're just working through how we remove them and place them in a different site, and with transport, with the modules themselves, so those quotes aren't quite finished yet.
Is it worth adding to that, sorry, just through the chair, that it's not as simple as just lifting them up and putting them up there. They need to be effectively dismantled and rebuilt, and there's a specialist skill involved in that.
I thought we were applying for people who put them in to actually move them.
Yeah,
which
so
would be logical, I thought.
we did, but they were unavailable after June this year, which didn't give us any lead time from the last time that we had our meeting to get them to come and visit us because they're not based here. And so now they're working on festivals throughout the country and not available again till the mid to the end of September. So we're just looking to see what we can do in the meantime.
Okay.
Any other questions? The only question I had was about the Esplanade car park. When will we hear more? Because obviously that's a very ongoing problem with the town.
Sure. So I'm engaged in a series of meetings with the county councillor for Seaford and with the parking manager for East Sussex County Council. We have spent some time exploring various options for the parking, particularly the Esplanade. There have been some developments and some land ownership issues which have come to the fore which East Sussex weren't aware of, and that needs to be worked through. We've discussed some potential options with the gravel strip, and what could and couldn't be done there. And it's a work in progress, but I wouldn't like to give a date as to when that will actually be concluded. It's something which is ongoing.
Okay.
Sorry if that's vague, but I
It's
haven't
just it's
got
something
dates.
that's been rolling on for quite a few years, and obviously it causes a lot of problem for the people who live opposite where the gravel strip is.
Sure, which is why various options with the gravel strip are being discussed,
Yeah.
and whether or not that's something which should remain a parking area into the future.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions?
So
Councillor
the Seaford and Bloom contract, awaiting councillor steer and officer investigation. These kind of things were mentioned quite a few years ago, as you will remember, Madam Chair. And I just wondered, are we waiting for, have we not got the officer capacity to investigate that, or do we need to be talking to councillors, to us, about a steer on it? Please.
So we haven't had the officer capacity, but we do have the grounds maintenance contract, which is currently being looked at, along with the Verges contract. The Seaford and Bloom seems to be rolling year on year, so we'd like to look at all of the green spaces in those areas together to see whether there's one contract that would suit all, or whether we need to break that into pieces for the town.
Through the chair, there might be economies of scale if we were able to put the Seaford and Bloom into the grounds maintenance contract rather than paying someone else separately.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions?
No, I think it's very comprehensive.
Right, we are asked to note the contents of the report. So can I have a proposal, please? Councillor Rutland and seconder, Councillor Markwell, all in favour. Thank you very much. Right, agenda item number 5, to inform the Assets and Facilities Committee of income and expenditure up to the 31st of May 2025.
Okay, thank you. So this is a report from the RFO in relation to the regular report that we provide for income and expenditure up to the last month end, which is appropriate for the meeting, and this one runs to the 31st of May. Obviously the report is quite self-explanatory, but I'd welcome any questions.
Any questions? Councillor Rutland?
No, I would just commend the RFO for a very understandable and easy report to read. If you don't know you've got to weigh around the balance sheet, it can all be very confusing, but this is excellent work. Thank you very much.
Pass on.
I was going to say,
Please
can I
do.
pass on? Any further questions? Right, okay. We are asked to note the contents of the report then. Can I have a proposal, please? Councillor Walraven, a seconder, Councillor Markwell, I think had a hand up over, and then all in favour. Right, thank you. Right, agenda item number 6. To consider concerns around the street market licence and the effect this has on local shop traders. To further consider the consultations that have been undertaken on the views regarding the street market.
Did you want to go first or shall I go first?
Yeah, I can go first. So officers have conducted 2 consultation processes within looking at the details that have been presented from the gallery and the paper. It's been quite difficult, you would see from the results of that, to be able to give a steer of direction of how the market is to continue. And we've listed here of the considerations for council to consider. Is there anything else you wanted to do?
Not really. I mean, I think I would just refer back to the comment that was made from the public gallery in terms of where it says biased. You know, the town council needs to retain an impartial position and to rely solely on a report from the market itself could be seen by some quarters as being biased, and that's the only reason that that's mentioned in there. It's not a suggestion that we think that that's biased. It's just that it could be accused that just listening to one side of the argument is biased, and that's why it's mentioned in there. But apologies if that's offended you in any way.
Thank you. Councillor Rutland.
How many people actually responded to the consultation? How many in total?
It was over 200 that responded.
So, a sensible number.
Councillor Heath.
Could I just point out, Chair, that I think there was something that wasn't quite correct in what you said, Town Clerk, when you said it's nothing to do with whether the market exists or doesn't exist. I think you'll find that point 2 in the recommended says we either approve or reject the issuing of a street licence for 2025, which would seem to suggest that actually that is in the balance if we don't choose to approve it.
Okay. Yeah, I recognise your point. I mean, in terms of the recommendation within the paper is not that, doesn't go that far. It talks about whether or not the non-compete clause should be reinserted into the licence itself.
Oh, I see.
That was all I was getting at. But yeah, I mean, the reason that that's in there is because at this current time, the street market licence hasn't been reissued for 2025 because of the ongoing consultation.
Okay.
That's all that really means.
But I think it would suggest that we could refuse it.
Okay. I'll take your point.
Councillor Walraven.
Thank you, Chair. I've been retired 11 years now, but I ran my own business for 40 years, and I can understand some of the shops, they have large overheads, but there is competition out there, and although I was at Bishopstone Station, I was virtually on my own, but you still have competition with the supermarkets, with pricing and all that, and I had to turn my business round to survive. With saying that, I support the town market because each time I come into the town, especially sort of after lunchtime, I notice how busier the town is when the street market is on, and the Saturdays when it's not on. To me, it's quite noticeable, and I'm sure there are a number of people who support the street market also support other shops in the town. I don't think they just stick to Church Street. I think they do wander around because we have a nice selection of shops. So I do support our street market, and I would hate to see it go. It may be considered, like a lady from the Chamber of Commerce, to try the High Street. I know the Italian market was in Sutton Road, and I don't think the traders were very happy up there at the time, and that was only sort of once in every couple of months. But it just didn't work in that road. So, yeah, I had a thought on trying the High Street, but to me, I think it's quite successful, and I just would like to see the market and the traders, shop traders, working in harmony with each other. And because I'm sure at the end of the day, it does support, our town centre. Thank you.
Councillor Markwell, because Councillor Markwell hasn't spoken yet.
Oh, surprise. No surprises. I would like to just echo my colleague in terms, and also from the public participation in terms of thinking about both communication and place in terms of this report. I think that, first of all, communication I would emphasise between traders and the market traders and the town traders has been exponentially supported via the Chamber of Commerce over the last couple of years through Christmas Magic, and even though one would say that isn't part of it, it is absolutely underpinning the amount of people that come into the town on Christmas Magic, and there's a massive expectation clearly from last year's success that is something that people want. I mean, you're wading through as mayor, as I did last year, to 2,000 people with 700 people behind me. It's quite clear this is what people want. So I'm quite happy, with the fact that the town market is recognised and supported, and I'm also very, very grateful to the Chamber for all the work that has been done, and I have been part of a little bit of that, I suppose, by being an outside body rep for both the traders and in the market and the town. But I do think communication is key, and we need to continue that, and I know our colleagues here in Seaford Town Council are also facilitating that to happen, so I think that's all very positive. I'm interested, though, also in the idea of place, and I think if we are going to undertake a consultation ourselves, that possibly the question of place may be introduced also into that consultation, with opportunities for people to comment on that, so that there is a fairly discussion about it that feeds back to us when we're thinking about this, when the results come back to us, because there are issues for immediacy, for where markets have been placed, both whether they're Italian, French, or our local market. And I think it would just be interesting to explore that from the public perspective. So I would welcome that as a question, perhaps, in the survey.
Councillor Rutland.
Just as a point of order, this gentleman from the tea rooms, while he's complained, he hasn't provided any evidence to back up the claim that his business is affected. It's purely anecdotal. So it is actually an unsupported claim. I've got 3 different letters from him here, all of which are verging on gaslighting. One here says nothing will change by the reinstatement of this clause. So in which case, if he's saying nothing will change, then why should we change it? I think competition is the backbone of any industry, of any business, and if you don't want competition, don't go into business. I think the market is a valuable asset to the town. To hobble what they do by putting in a non-compete clause, we would be detrimental, and I think remiss in our responsibilities to actually institute that clause. This is one man who clearly has a lot of personal issues, which may well affect his business in the way, if he speaks to his customers and other people, the way he's addressing himself. Anyway, maybe his problems are not the market, and he needs to look a bit closer to home. But I certainly do not think we should put this clause in. I think it would be remiss of us to do so.
Thank you. Any other councillors want to speak? Councillor Hayman?
A couple of points. I'm assuming the Christmas Magic and street traders, the street market's on the same day this year. Is that correct?
We're not talking about Christmas market in this one.
Well, I was thinking of the comparison point of view. That's what I was thinking of. Will it really be detrimental for the traders? It's just sort of like another Ready Reckoner in that respect. That's just one issue I thought about there.
Okay.
The high street, I've got an issue with the high street. I don't know if you're thinking of you're thinking of near Sackport's that end, not so much town and trade end, because you never know what might happen with that. That's not probably the nice end to put the market up. You're talking of that end if you were considering it. And
Top ends.
yeah, I'm not quite. Also, can I, my last bit over the 26. I was just trying to work out what a reconsultation will prove. Really, I'm still a bit unsure. Okay. All it does, it brings it back into public mind all the time. There's something wrong with it. You see what I mean? That's my only concern.
Sure.
Thank you.
I mean, through the chair, it's just a proposal to reconsult, but if councillors don't want us to do that, then It's just that at the moment it's a renewal every year,
Right.
and if we don't reconsult, then the natural assumption is that it would continue to
Well, yeah.
to re-license each year. Or it might be that councillors are happy with the decision and don't need to reconsult every year. So we're just trying to sort of bring forward options for councillors.
Yeah.
I think the problem with consultations is the only people that answer them if they're not happy with something. If people are happy with it, they don't bother answering. I think possibly even not having just an annual licence, but maybe 3 or 5 years extending it would be much better. And obviously with the kind offer of the Chamber of Commerce to perhaps be a liaison as well through the Chamber of Commerce, which obviously I'm one of the council representatives on the Chamber. They do an enormous amount of good. I've seen them do some amazing things with local businesses. So actually getting the Chamber more closely involved can only be beneficial. I think hobbling the market in any way is not beneficial, and I think giving them a longer licence for 3 or 5 years, akin to the other concessions that we have in the town, I think would be a much better way of doing things, because then we don't have to have this argument every year, and I think consultations are more of a paper exercise, and we've got enough to do with all the paperwork we have to do, rather than creating more work.
Thank you.
If I can just say through the chair, we need to check what the arrangements around street light trading rules and our arrangement with Lewis District Council before we know if we're allowed to issue it for more than
Yeah, I'm just
don't have that
throwing an idea out.
Yeah.
Councillor Meek.
I'd like to to back up what's been said, re the number of hours that the market traders are trading. If it's only 4 hours on a Saturday, and that's not a huge number of hours really. Every other Saturday, so it's 8 hours a month, which isn't very much really. But I do wonder whether the shop traders are concerned because it's on a Saturday, and they feel that maybe they do most of their trade there from that day, when people are free maybe. I noticed that East Dean Market's on a Wednesday, I believe, and I don't know if there's a possibility of doing it on a different day of the week, which might pull people in who weren't otherwise, just coming on a Saturday. But I can understand that Saturday is the prime day. But I don't really believe that the non-compete clause should be back in there. I don't see that it's going to affect people really. How you're going to go into details. Someone's going to say, well, I provide bread. Well, what kind of bread? Is it gluten-free? Is it sourdough? Is it then you get into all that kind of detail. Somebody might say, well, I'm providing a bread that no one else is supplying on Saturday. I provide some other bread as well. Or what you're saying, I can only provide this bread, rye bread or something. So I think it's quite tricky. Obviously, bread is sold in a number of places, not least of all Morrison's. Yes, that's for what it's worth.
Thank you. I'd just like to say something. Having worked in retail horticulture for 30 years, there's competition everywhere. Competition from the internet. It's everywhere around you. I would be concerned about taking out the non-compete clause, because also somebody who filled in the survey made a comment about the fact the town doesn't have one cafe, one this, one that.
Precisely.
So there is competition in the town. The market, when I was mayor, I came down and visited, I came and met with the street stall holders at the time, and it's very much a community atmosphere, it's people looking out for each other, there's very much a camaraderie, it's people, local people with local businesses in the town. And so I did actually ask if I had a conflict of interest, because I'd given Miranda a Mayor's Award, but I was told I didn't, because I wanted to check that, but it was 2023. So I did check that information, which is why I didn't have to say about a conflict of interest. I think the market gives a lot to the town. If it with retail is so hard at the moment. Any type of retail is really, really hard work at the moment. So anything that helps each other stall holders, shops, that helps each other bring people in, has to be a bonus. And you know, there will always be issues, but you just have to try and work those out. And you just need to work with each other. And I think the idea of the Chamber of Commerce working with the stallholders and the shopkeepers, I think that's a really good, sensible offer to do.
Thank you.
And I think that's just my personal opinion. I think that's a good idea to work together. So that's my thoughts at the moment. But yeah, having done retail horticulture at the moment, there is no such thing as no competition. Councillor Mark.
Sorry, coming in on a second point, but really collecting what has been said about the extension to the contract or licence. I do think, personally, that if that was going to be investigated and could be undertaken, that it would be useful to have a baseline at this point of a public consultation. So I will still favour that, because I think there has been a lot of discussion. We might decide it's only been because of one or two, but it's caused a lot of discussion within the town. And so I also think it gives us an opportunity at this point in time to look at place, forms of communication, etc. And also to garner, you know, and collect the viewpoints at this time, if you were then going to go forward and extend, so you then wouldn't have to do that again, because the contract would then continue but for longer. So I do think there's something about drawing a line under this by having that consultation. I think it might help us go forward, because we want it to be democratic and for people to be able to come forward. And I think if the consultation includes questions that people haven't possibly thought of before, that does give us a helpful perspective that I think we can at least think about at this time. I appreciate there is a cost and a time for consultations, but this might help.
Thank you. Right, any further questions? Right, the committee is recommended, but I'm going to take them separately. I'm not going to take them together. Right, so the first one is to note the contents of the report. A proposal, Councillor Meek, seconder, Councillor Rutland, all in favour. Thank you. Number 2 is to approve or reject the issuing of a street market licence for 2025. So we're for that, we're approving it. Yeah.
If that's what you're...
Yeah.
You need to have a vote on it.
Yeah. I just wanted to check that it says to approve or reject.
Yeah.
So right, okay. So can we have a proposer? So is that the right way around to do it? Because you've got it on here, proposed to approve or reject.
Yeah. So you're proposing to approve the issue of a street market licence.
Yeah, and if it goes against reject, it's just the way that's two words together. I'm like, oh.
You can't put two recommendations, one saying to approve and another saying to reject.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm getting this round the right way.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so to approve the issuing of a street market licence for 2022, can I have a proposal? 25, sorry. 22, gosh. 2025. Councillor Walraven, seconder, Councillor Markwell, all in favour?
Approved.
Approved, thank you. Right, number 3, to approve the reintroduction of the non-complete clause within the 2025 street market licence.
It sounds as if you're going for a reject that rather than approve.
Okay, that's why the wording is.
But if you ask anyone to recommend that and they do, then you have to go with a vote. But if nobody does, then you move on to reject.
Yeah, okay. So do I have a proposer to approve the reintroduction of the non-complete clause within the 2025 street market licence? Okay, no. So I'm going to read it again. To reject the reintroduction of the non-complete clause within the 2025 street market licence, do we have a proposal? Councillor Rutland and a seconder, Councillor Meek, all in favour? Thank you. Number 4, to delegate power to the town clerk in consultation with the Chair of Assets and Facilities Committee to conduct a fresh survey in 2026 and use the results to inform a decision on the issuing of a street market licence for 2026, including whether the non-compete clause, it's a bit of a tongue twister, sorry.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah, I know. Including whether the non-compete clause should remain in the 2026 licence. Do we have a proposer?
Can I do amendment, Chair, but I've taken up the last bit about the compete chairs 26.
We've already voted on whether it should be
This is
taken
20,
or out.
no, talk about 25, Councillor Martin.
Yes,
No,
but
but
we've
we're
taken
on
it out.
26.
Yeah, so it's not going to be
So
in there for 26.
we don't need to put it in again.
Right, okay.
We've already said take the non-compete clause out, so we don't need that in the future. We've
No,
already
we're not
made
taking
the
it
It's about the survey.
Chair,
does
we're
need
not
to be
taking it out,
discussed.
it was about reintroducing it, not about taking it out.
Okay.
Sorry, but that is the recommendation that will make its way through to the minutes. So if we're going to remove the last line, we need to do an amendment, as Councillor Honeyman has proposed, to remove that last line and then vote on the amendment and then vote on the amended recommendation. Otherwise, that will appear in the minutes of the meeting.
So, are you proposing that?
Yeah, I'm proposing that one. Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Take that out.
all in favour? Okay,
So that's out.
that's out.
No, that was voting for the amendment, that was voting.
Yeah,
No,
that's out of when it comes to the... Right, so I'm not going to read this all out again, to delegate power to the town clerk consultation, so I won't go because I've already read it out. Is everyone happy for that, or do we need to read it out again?
Oh, we're happy with that.
Okay. Right, can I have a proposer to whether we conduct a fresh survey in 2026 or not? Councillor Narkwell, second of Councillor Walraven. All in favour? Anyone against? Any abstentions? Thank you. Right.
Okay. Those of you that are here for the market, just in case you got lost in the complicated back and forth of the amendments there, the recommendations are that the street market will continue for 2025, that there won't be a non-compete clause entered, and that we have removed the discussion about a non-compete clause being put in there for next year as well, but we'll redo a survey in 2026, in terms of getting a consultation. So hopefully that you're relatively content that that's now happened. And I think if you'd like to leave, we can organise for you to leave now. You don't have to, but if you
Thank you. Right, agenda item number 7, to provide an update on the status of the Changing Places toilet facility and the planned next steps.
So officers have done a lot of work following some vandalism, some access that was gained by the fire brigade following somebody being locked inside the unit. We've also been looking at various solutions to having the form that we used to complete, the access by the radar key, the access by the code pad. We've made some recommendations within this report after viewing some of the other changing places within the UK. And there is one other site that officers have found, which is standalone as is, because the majority of the changing places facilities are within buildings or they're looked after on a site that's manned, as is doesn't have any of that. So the recommendation that we found is to have the keypad reintroduced alongside the radar key. But the keypad code is advertised on the Changing Places website for people that use Changing Places, so that officers aren't involved in any application process and can point people to the code on the website as well as the radar key. And that would help protect the facilities from general use for those who need it, but also it's accessible file who require. So is there any questions?
Councillor Meek.
Various comments, but a question as well. I'm really annoyed about this, actually, I have to say. We consulted long and hard about this changing places toilet when it came to us, do you remember? And there was a lot of discussion about access, the fact that it wasn't a manned building, and I remember councillors saying, so how is it going to be accessed? I've had experience of this, it's difficult to get hold of a key, not anyone can get a radar key online, so we decided not that, and then so I'm really upset that I think we didn't get very good advice, perhaps, from the Changing Places people. I really don't think they kind of helped us very much. They should have flagged up. If it's not manned, it's going to be quite difficult to police and to look after. And I really don't feel we got best advice there. But coming to the other thing about the fire brigade, how did someone get locked in there? I mean, how can you get locked in if you've got a key or if you've had a touchpad? How does that happen? And why do we have to then have destruction of our very expensive Changing Places, which is a purpose-built facility? I just don't get it. Sorry, do you have an answer?
Yeah, I mean, did you want me? Yeah. So it was to do with the actual lock mechanism itself, and it got stuck, and you can't open those locks from the outside. So the fire brigade had to gain access.
Was it under guarantee?
Well, even with the radar key, you can't.
No.
What?
Because if somebody's inside and then they put the handle up, you can't gain access to the unit.
Otherwise you'd have other people with radar keys unlocking the door.
Whilst you're using the
while someone else is in there.
And the person couldn't lower the handle?
We don't know. We can go off is what the fire brigade reported, which is that they couldn't get out and they had no option but to force the door open. I mean, no Seaford Town Council staff were there when it happened.
You can't, sorry, Chairman, but you can't make this up. You'd think you've got to have, health and safety and fail-safe mechanisms to be able to get access if someone's stranded. The fire brigade can't be breaking into the building like that. That's crazy. God's sake, what society do we live in?
Councillor Mark Brown.
Yeah, just an interesting point about the destruction of the door, pretty much, under which the fire service had to do to get the people out. I did have actually an interesting conversation with the lead fire person about the destruction of this door and why that happened. And they said basically when they're those types of doors, they use what's called they have to put something in, they have to insert and then widen the
jaws of life.
The jaws of life, yes. And that is the destruction bit, and unfortunately because they do that, then it breaks both the door and the door frame. But that's the only way they can actually go in and open to then, get the door open, because they have to bypass the lock. And they did say, but you'd already got it. They did say that all the information that you would require will be in the ISO, the incident report, that you've already obtained the incident report and presumably got as much information as they could give you about the situation at the time. So I guess what we're looking at, and I totally counter, with James, with Councillor Meek, the frustration of this whole issue is that I don't think we've had good advice from Changing Places group at all. I guess some investigation still as to how others manage, and it's great that you're doing that, and to be much clearer about the decision. I'm just querying the fact that the recommendation here is to just note the contents of the report, which means we're already happy for you to get on with looking at this and making a decision yourselves once you've found an appropriate solution. So I think as long as we're updated on your decisions finally as to what will happen, then that will be really helpful. That's all really. But it's frustrating for these things. But it is our first experience of having one of these types of places and those types of locks as well.
Councillor Higham.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, just correct if I'm wrong. It opens outwards, doesn't it, the door?
Yeah.
Right. I actually think it's probably far too late now, but I think the location of that door with to basically as closest to the seafront as possible. It's all right this sort of weather. We get in the middle of the summer, in the winter there, you get prevailing southwesterly winds there with the gales and everything. And I think already I thought I saw a bit of rust around all around that area anyway. I don't know if I was correct when I saw it the other day when we did a visit to see the damage. So I don't know if anything can be done on that front before if it does open out to the location. Can that be looked into in any way, or are we stuck with what we got basically? But there's no. Yeah, maybe that could have been thought about when before it got put up. Maybe it would have been probably better to do it on more the north side, but it's too late now, isn't it? Anyway, it's just a thought, because it could cause other issues with damage, more damage because of where it is. But I'm not. Oh, is there also one other thing? Is there a way of, you know the usage? Is there any way of knowing what the usage is of it? Is there any way of having a tally automatically, so you know? Can it be done as a automatic sort of situation, so you know the usage? Just so you know your own records. Yeah, is it being used, or we got half a dozen a day, 10 a day, none a day, whatever? I just don't know. I'm just thinking a bit more to keep a bit of statistics on the usage.
Through the chair, we don't have a way of logging that at the moment.
Right.
I mean, I think it's anticipated that a Changing Places toilet isn't going to have lots and lots of users, but that for the users that need it, it's a vital lifeline. So it's not going to be used regularly and often, but when it is used,
Yeah.
it's needed. Sharon can certainly look into if there's a way that we can log how many people are using it, but I'm not sure if we have to pay for that, what information that's going to provide us that we can do anything with necessarily. We have provided the fire service with a radar key now, which I don't think they had before, or we've offered to provide them with a radar key. However, as it turned out, even if they had a radar key on this occasion, it wouldn't have enabled them to have opened it because the lock was turned up on the inside. We aren't clear why the person inside couldn't unlock it, and nor the fire service. But if the fire service are told someone's in a toilet and they can't get out, their only job is to get them out.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's why it happened. But the exact circumstances of how that person got in, how they got locked in, remains unclear. And I think the idea here is to find a medium, like a middle way, whereby there is an element of soft challenge, soft security, whatever you want to call it, where, as well as the radar key, they also need to go onto the Changing Places website to get a code, in the hope that only people with a genuine need for the provision will do that process to get in there.
So I have one question supplementary. On the Changing Places website, you to get the code, there's a certain amount of security issues before you can get as far as that, or is it, it's not okay? Okay.
Could I come back regarding the location of the door? So originally when the unit was proposed to be placed on the promenade, the door was going to open exactly the same as the Martello beach huts. So it would have been using the prom because it was flat for any access to the unit. It was then agreed that the only place to enter the unit would be from the side with a raised ramp that's been built, because if it was on the north facing, there's no pavement in that location, so the users would be on the road.
You'd be on the gravel, wouldn't you? The narrow bit of gravel and onto the road.
So it was the only option at that site.
Thank you.
Councillor Mead?
Just to query, the door and the frame have been broken. Presumably there is a financial implication of this report. Not directly of this report, but there is a financial implication to what's happened. Is that right?
Yeah.
But we don't know what it is yet.
We're still gaining quotes.
Okay.
There's various estimates that have been received. So officers are looking for the best practice.
Thank you. And through the chair, will that have to come to full council?
I don't know.
To be sanctioned, or what happens?
No, reactive maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So a couple of bits I have admit I'm a bit concerned. I think this happened a couple of months ago, but have you had to wait for the investigation to be done before you can actually do anything? Oh, okay, that will explain why it's taking so long.
Yeah.
I was a bit concerned about the code being on the Changing Places website, because what about those who might not have internet access to be able to actually get hold of that change of places code, or are we assuming that other people will be able to find it for them?
I mean, through the chair, I think none of us are thinking that this is the perfect solution.
Right.
But the former solution, which was that they had to come to us and fill out a form, and we then had to assess whether they were disabled enough to get access, was never a suitable solution. And the current solution, where we just let them have a radar key, also isn't a suitable solution. So Sharon and her team have come up with this sort of middle ground in the hope that adding that extra layer of soft security will help to prevent people who shouldn't use it from using it, and that they need to actually be familiar with changing places and go to the website and look it up to find the code to enable them to use it. And someone that was just trying to use it to shortcut the other toilet, for example, probably isn't going to go through all those steps.
Okay.
And so it's soft security, it's a soft layer, but it's a sort of mid-ground that we're trying to see if this works better than the current system.
Okay.
Just in answer to your question, if somebody is that disabled but they don't have internet access, they probably have at least 2 or 3 carers.
Oh, I know, but I just
And
thought
they will
maybe
have,
they
will have internet access.
it's just not everyone has internet access.
No, but the carers who look after that, because if you're that disabled and need it, you will have carers.
Oh yeah, so I didn't mean the actual
So
disabled person, but just generally.
Yeah, but if that person hasn't got it, the people caring for them definitely will have.
That's what I just
So
thought.
it's a problem that won't come up.
Yeah, I just like to throw that one out there.
Yeah.
Right, okay, any further questions?
No.
Right, so we happy to note the content of the reports?
Yeah.
Can I have a proposer please? Councillor Rutland, a seconder, Councillor Walraven, all in favour? Thank you very much. Right, agenda item number 8, which is the exclusion of the press and the public. The Chair will move in accordance with the Public Bodies Administration Admission to Meetings Act 1960, the press and public be excluded from the meeting during the discussion on the next 2 items of business for the reasons as set out below. You want me to read those out? So can I have a proposal that we exclude the press and the public? Councillor Walraven, a seconder, Councillor Markwell, all in favour. Sorry.